Hi, Peter. Welcome to Hamburg. I'm super happy to host you here today in our new Beiersdorf headquarter, our beautiful new campus, and to conduct the podcast interview and video interviews with you today. My name is Julia Beier, and I work in our corporate sustainability at Beiersdorf. I manage our responsible sourcing program globally in close collaboration with my colleagues from procurement, research and development, and also our strategic suppliers. So I'm very happy to welcome you here, and tell me a little bit, what is your exact role at Evonik?
Yeah, many thanks, Julia. Again, it's a pleasure to meet you here in Hamburg, in this very nice location. My role at Evonik is a sustainability manager, so I'm responsible for our portfolio transformation project and also, let's say, customer projects on sustainability. And therefore, I'm happy again to talk to you and continue our discussions about our joint projects.
And what does sustainable portfolio transformation mean exactly at Evonik?
Portfolio transformation means we recognize that we have to steer our portfolio into a direction the market is expecting, the environment is asking for, of course, trying to reduce our emissions, trying to reduce responsible sourcing or improve responsible sourcing on our feedstock. A bigger part of our portfolio is based on biogenic feedstocks, oleochemical derived feedstocks, and therefore responsible sourcing together with you is a very important topic next to CO2 reduction and other topics as well.
And what do you appreciate most about our joint collaboration with Beiersdorf and Evonik?
Honestly, what I appreciate is the very honest and nice, open relationship that's necessary, because if you really want to achieve improvements when it comes to our environmental footprint, but also portfolio transformation means we have to look into the future, and therefore we openly have to discuss on new ideas, innovation, but also on gaps, failures from the past, and therefore I really enjoy this very open, loyal and trustful relationship with Beiersdorf.
Great to hear that. Peter, in 2020, we actually initiated the joint sustainability campus between Beiersdorf and Evonik, where we meet on a regular basis in cross-functional teams to discuss, but also move forward with important strategic sustainability topics. What are your main learnings and takeaways from this joint sustainability campus?
The most important topic on the campus, and the reason why we have developed the campus together, is to have a cross-functional discussion on sustainability, because sustainability pros and cons of new alternatives, alternative technologies, but also, let's say, final product applications are seen differently within the different functions of the companies, and therefore we really enjoy to have these cross-functional discussions. One of the major results of the campus initiative was our joint activities on responsible sourcing, but also, let's say, a lot of other topics which helps us to transform our portfolio and the way like we have set our common targets. But maybe, Julia, you can explain a little bit more in detail on our joint activities with regards to responsible sourcing and, for example, palm oil activities.
Yeah, Beiersdorf and Evonik have both joint challenges, but also opportunities with regards to responsible sourcing. Both companies want to source their main renewable materials sustainably and also deforestation-free. And palm oil is one of the key ingredients that both companies use in their products. Evonik and Beiersdorf don't source palm oil directly from the mills. We rather use derivatives, which are further refined materials with the original feedstock of palm oil. But both companies use oleochemical ingredients in their products, where the original feedstock has been palm oil. And Beiersdorf and Evonik are both committed to sourcing 100% sustainably certified palm oil based on the standards from the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, and to also achieve a deforestation-free sourcing of this important material. Beiersdorf and Evonik are both active in several initiatives regarding sustainable palm oil. For example, there's the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, where both companies are member. We are also engaged in Germany in the Forum on Sustainable Palm Oil. And in 2019, we also co-founded an initiative called Action for Sustainable Derivatives, which aims to reach more transparency in our derivatives supply chain and really understand the key sourcing countries, but also mills, plantations, where our raw material is actually coming from.
Yeah, thank you, Julia. So one of the results of our transparency activities is that the majority of our material comes from Indonesia and Malaysia, and this is where our projects area are located. Maybe you can explain a little bit more on the work on the ground. What is really the impact for the people in Indonesia and Malaysia?
Yeah, for Beiersdorf, 97% of our palm-based raw materials are actually coming from Indonesia and Malaysia. These two countries are the biggest producers for palm oil, and that's why we have decided together to support two projects on the ground and empower palm oil smallholder farmers together with the WWF in producing more sustainable palm oil, and also to stop the deforestation on the ground and improve the local living but also working conditions of these smallholders and their families. So together with Evonik, we are engaged in two projects with WWF in West Kalimantan, Indonesia, and in Sabah, Malaysia. Both projects last until 2026, and we aim to train the smallholder farmers on sustainable palm oil production and also certify them according to the RSPO standards, but also enable them to have access to the market by actually establishing a direct market linkage with one of the mills. And in the long term, we also aim to integrate these projects in our supply chain, and also in collaboration with our more upstream suppliers, also source from these projects in the long term.
Yeah, Julia, palm oil still remains a challenge for both of us. It will remain one of our major feedstocks we are using. What are your expectations with regards to deforestation-free palm in the future?
We aim to source our palm-based raw materials deforestation-free by 2025, and both companies have also invested in satellite monitoring to actually monitor deforestation in our upstream supply chain and then also follow up in case of potential grievances. And since end of 2020, Beiersdorf sources all of its global palm-based raw materials sustainably certified by the standards of the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil. Our aim is not to phase out palm oil, but to actually make sure that we continue sourcing sustainably certified materials and also have them deforestation-free sourced. And palm oil is the biggest vegetable oil that exists in the world today. And palm oil is also one of the most efficient vegetable oils because you actually have a very high yield per hectare. And switching to other vegetable oils such as rapeseed, coconut, or soy oil doesn't make any sense because the yield would be so much lower, and you actually need so much more areas of cultivation to get the same amount of oil from these commodities.
Yeah, thank you, Julia. I think responsible sourcing is still a very important topic because one of the major levers to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and to reduce our environmental or improve our environmental impact is on scope 3, is located at the raw material and the feedstock side. But there had been some other topics discussed during our campus discussions.
Yeah, beyond responsible sourcing and the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, especially in scope 3, what are other main topics that are important for you that we also discussed and addressed during the Sustainability Campus?
Yeah, one topic, of course, is responsible sourcing, where the feedstock comes from, but also where the feedstock goes to. So the final application of an ingredient in a consumer product also has a very important impact on its environmental footprint, and therefore we are talking together in order how to eco-optimize final formulas using more innovative feedstocks, but also processes for ingredients and final applications in a consumer product. in order to reduce and achieve our greenhouse gas targets, CO2 reduction targets. Therefore, it is very important to have a cross-functional and overarching view on sustainability performance on a product level, and therefore also marketing and regulatory aspects, but also economical aspects has to be considered, and therefore one of the major results of our joint activities is to develop what we call the Sustainable Product Trend Index, which is a type of KPI, summary of KPIs, which visualize for all of us what is really the main benefit of a new technology, of a new idea, and a new consumer product. Yeah, Julia. So we have joint sustainability targets, like for example, reducing our greenhouse gas emissions according to the Science-Based Target initiatives. Can you tell me a little bit more about your sustainability agenda at Beiersdorf?
Yeah, Beiersdorf sustainability agenda is called Care Beyond Skin. And we have a very comprehensive sustainability agenda where we address many different topics with ambitious targets in the areas of environment, society, and consumer. In the area of climate, Beiersdorf has actually one of the most ambitious climate targets in our industry, because we are one of the only companies who has an absolute reduction target. Our climate target by 2025 aims to reduce 30% of our greenhouse gas emissions in absolute terms and scope 1, 2, and 3 based on 2018 baseline. And our climate target has been approved by the Science-Based Targets initiative and is also in line with the Paris Climate Agreement of 1.5 degrees. And we, of course, rely heavily also on our joint collaboration with suppliers and also on their efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in their supply chain, because this would help us to reduce our scope 3 emissions. So we really appreciate the joint collaboration with Evonik and all your sustainability efforts that you are undertaking.
Yeah, thank you, Julia. I think the sustainability agendas of both companies are very similar. There are more topics than CO2 reduction, responsible sourcing, which are addressed in our Sustainable Campus discussion. Therefore, we really enjoyed to talk with you in a very open way how to transform our portfolio together.
Thanks again, Peter, for coming today here for our interesting exchange on many different sustainability topics that we are jointly working on. I wish you all the best and look forward to our continuous collaboration on sustainability.
Thank you, Julia, again for our discussion today. And it will be definitely a continuous discussion, because new opportunities, new innovations are popping up every day. And therefore, we are really looking forward to exchange with the whole Beiersdorf team also on our joint agenda and bring us forward with regards to our joint portfolio transformation.
Thanks.